Welcome to this video. My name is Mark Scythian. The date today is October 2nd, 2024. This video is going to focus on ultrasound versus infrasound. The 5 sense human perception frequency range is between 20 and 20,000 cycles per second or hertz. So if we took a quartz crystal and we electrified it with alternating current at its dedicated ground node points, we would more or less capture about 22,000 of 25,000 hertz into mechanical vibration or sound. So this is based on the differential of the inductive and capacitive reactance in the RLC AC electrical circuit. So that had to be designed with a controllable frequency oscillator system. So then a sound wave at even very high decibels would be propagated. However, the human perception would not hear that sound. So that's known as the ultrasound. So this could be used for absorption and reflective capabilities, which can then be captured into radio frequency and or digital hard drive systems to either convert that into a dedicated sound for tracking location or three-dimensionally into a video. So then we have the video ultrasound devices for non-invasively looking into structures, biological and physical. So this is known as ultrasound, and it is a variant of the sonar technology from naval hydrodynamics. So if we do a really good job and we broadcast a high power AC crystalline structure ultrasonic wave through the water, we then can track a reflective signal or a reflective set of sound waves, which are translated into a naval sound standard for depth, range, tracking, proximity. And if we increased our power, we could then even reach the resonant frequency of an enemy ship and then perhaps dematerialize the structure. So that's a very weaponized application, but there are considerations to Newton's third law of motion. For every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So the safety of doing so has various unreliable outcomes because what you project out also reflects back, and there's only so much filtration and slowing down of sound in a water environment. So that was a consideration. And so now if we change the oscillator frequency of 25,000 hertz in the AC circuit to something very low, such as 8 hertz, below 20,000 hertz, this too would not be audible to human perception. And this is known as infrasound. The sound waves below 20 hertz and ultrasound are the sound waves above 20,000 hertz. So what makes the infrasound very dangerous is that the human brain vibrates at approximately 8 cycles per second, consistent with the Schumann earth resonance. The Schumann earth resonance is the resonant frequency of the entire Earth with respect to vibratory rates. So it would be a sort of a sound that the Earth makes. And this is between 7.92 and 8.1 hertz. So our brains, they are vibrating at a frequency consistent with the Schumann earth resonance. So if an 8 cycle per second wave was artificially created, it would then create a non-local connection with the human neural cortex. So this could then become weaponized psychoreactive electronics or psychotronics, psychological electronics. And so this has been a consideration in the 21st century battlefield warfare. So if a human being's 8 cycle per second neural cortex frequency was actually disturbed or distorted, they would lose perception of their environment. In other words, that arrow of time everybody operates on, past, present, future. For example, driving down the road, we're always 8 to 12 seconds ahead of where we're at in the present. We know when we're going to slow down, when we're going to turn, when we're going to take off based on perceiving our environment. And so that is only because our brain's 8 hertz frequency is in resonance with the Earth's frequency. So if that was disturbed or non-locally interfered with, then the sense of perception with respect to time and direction, geospatial tracking, would more than likely become disorientated. So you know something's on your right side because the left side exists. You know something's above you because there's perception below you. And so these would all get distorted. You would know right from left, up from down, and past, present, future would all be distorted. So, you might have had a stop sign you passed 10 seconds ago, and that would appear like it's in front of you in the future. It would be a really big mess. So for all intents and purposes, the 8 cycles per second frequency is a very guarded and tracked frequency by the FCC. So we have a civilian FCC Part 15, and just like tracking radioactive emissions, neutrinos, also the 8 hertz infrasound frequency is closely tracked. So people who think they're going to build an oscillator and make everybody confused at their apartment complex by broadcasting an 8 cycle per second signature, you'd pop up on NORAD's GPS in a heartbeat, and federal agents would be at your door. So I don't recommend doing anything like this, but the main takeaway is that frequency is everything, whether mechanical, electromagnetic, chemical, biological, electrical, and thermal. So if we were dealing with electromagnetic frequencies, the speed of their waves are constant, the speed of light. So electromagnetic frequencies include light, magnetism, radio frequency, microwave frequency, electromagnetic induction, gamma frequency. Chemical and biological are different variations of physical frequencies with respect to molecular and chemical dynamics, atomic dynamics, etc. And so that falls under physical electricity going through a wire rather than electronic or electromagnetic. And then there is thermal frequency, the black body and Planck frequency constants or variations thereof. So the main takeaway of this video is that the principles and applications of ultrasound and infrasound are double-edged swords. So now if infra and ultrasound were weaponized, then reaching the resonant frequency of some vital organ could then reach a non-local connection and manipulation by the sender. At the same time, we have a better control of offensive measures, because if done in a gas medium such as the air, then the reflectivity is very nil, and it's kind of a one-way outcome. There's very little Newton's third law and reactive and reflective physics going on, but in water it's been proved to be very reflective, in air very directive. And so the good side of this neutral technology, because science is not good or bad, it's just how it is used. It's based on the ethics of intention by those who create the physics and the engineering. But if we looked on the good side of ultrasound and infrasound, because what can be weaponized can also be used to do the exact opposite, solve and heal the impossible problems of the present day. So just one last example before ending this lecture is that if, let's say, an incurable disease, its frequency was mapped out through spectral analysis, and its repeatability proved that it was vibrating consistently at a certain frequency, whatever disease that is. An equal and opposite, or a perhaps non-linear calculated frequency that would neutralize the disease, could then be broadcasted through the different stages of transfer. For example, water makes up between 80 and 96% of all cells in the body. Structured water. So if you were focusing on a brain cell or a DNA molecule or RNA or DNA, you're still dealing with between 86 and 92% water molecules. And water has a resonant frequency within its resonance of 2.4 gigahertz. So of course there would be a certain signature distortion or loss if, let's say, it was trying to reach a disease vector with 7.5 hertz. Let's say that's what the disease was. And so there would have to be many simulated calculations of the initial frequency broadcast so that it does end up equal and opposite to 7.5. So that can be arranged through the physics, electrical and mechanical engineering, and the material science engineering. But whatever that frequency, initial frequency broadcast is, would then be directed at a certain frequency, amplitude, and power setting, which would then translate and incrementally transfer through the medium and then reach that equal and opposite track. So there's probably have to be a real-time pulse system that continually adjusts itself until it reaches that frequency. So that would be in the software guidance. And so the physics is proof that that so-called incurable disease could then be deactivated through the frequency countermeasures. Not necessarily equal and opposite, but whatever the countermeasure is to cancel that frequency. And so then from the source of the disease vector, it would then domino effect in orders of magnitude negative from the source. And very quickly, you would have the elimination or reversal of the disease. So again, the weapons have an equal and opposite effect. They garner a lot of funding, but then that technology can be used to do the opposite, to heal, to reverse incurable diseases, etc., because everything is frequency. So there's a lot to learn with the differential between ultra and infrasounds, because they are outside of the 5 sense human perception. So that's the main takeaway. If you're dealing with an issue and it seems impossible, it's because the information is not there to describe it. So one of the fastest ways to describe impossible situations is to find out the resonant frequency of whatever you're dealing with. And so what can be weaponized can also be used to save and heal and make all the breakthroughs. So if anything does break through to reverse or save the problems humanity is dealing with, it is going to be in the understanding of frequency. So thank you for watching this video lecture and have a great day.